Good morning. This is Jay from A Stitch in Time in Bemidji, Minnesota. And I just wanted to make this little video this morning because of some of the things that have happened in the last day or so. Last night, our city of Bemidji passed an ordinance requiring face masks for all public buildings, and that includes us. Now, I must confess, I'm struggling with this a little bit. I've tried to be very conscientious about the health of my customers, of you when you're in here, and also of how we relate to each other outside of our store. But I also know we have to function as a store. I've carried a mask in my pocket for weeks now, and I've had no problem with other stores saying, "Hey, we want you to wear a mask when you're in here." Okay, that's their choice. They can do that, and we can choose either not to shop there or go somewhere else. But I wear a mask when I'm in there, out of respect for what they have asked. And yet I haven't worn a mask constantly for several reasons. Number one is I wear glasses. And when you wear a mask, your glasses fog up almost constantly. I have tried many different patterns and styles and types, and unless you actually put tape under your eyes and tape it fast so that no air can get around there, you fog up your glasses, especially when you have a nose as big as mine. And even my optometrist yesterday, when I went to talk to him, he had to take his glasses off so that he could see the screen because his glasses were fogging up. The eye doctor had me take my glasses off so I wouldn't be fogging up his equipment so he could be able to see my eyes. There's just some of those things. When I'm working on your sewing machines, we have to be able to see very precise details, and it becomes very difficult to do that when your glasses are fogged up. Second reason I haven't worn them constantly is because I haven't been convinced that healthy people wearing masks will have any impact on stopping this virus. And let me give you an illustration why. If you look at California has had a mask mandate in place for the entire state for the last month, since June 10th. And you can see right here, there is June 10th. And I'm not exactly sure, but they had approximately about maybe 3,000 new cases every day at that point. And that's when they mandated a mask. Everyone was supposed to wear a mask in all public buildings, just like here in Bemidji. Look what has happened to that number since then. It has continued to climb. Are face masks effective? Well, some of this data is showing no. Another reason I'm not convinced is because even OSHA, the Occupational Safety Hazard Association, is a company that was, or as an organization, was founded to create health safety and for their workers in whatever environment they have. They have stated from the very beginning that thin fabric coverings will do almost absolutely nothing to keep you from contracting a virus. They don't filter well enough. The N95 is the only one that is supposed to filter down low enough to prevent you from catching those diseases. They do say that the only thing that those face masks are good for is to stop droplets from flying out of your mouth when you cough, sneeze, or otherwise exhale forcefully, and also when you're in close proximity to others. But if we're staying home when we're sick, when we're coughing, sneezing, or if we're putting on a mask when we're outside, that's what we were supposed to be doing all along. This doesn't change that. What's interesting is that OSHA has since scrubbed their whole entire website to line up with what the CDC is saying, because they received pressure after people started pointing out that what OSHA said was safe and what the CDC was saying was okay were two different things. If you think that this much power to influence this many people is not able to be influenced by politics, I'm not certain I believe that either. That takes a certain level of naivety or an unawareness of how our world has functioned for the last quite a number of years that I can't go along with that either. Third reason I haven't worn a mask all the time is that most of you, my customers, have not been convinced of its effectiveness either. When you come into our store, what I have done is I've asked you, would you like me to wear a mask? And if you're wearing a mask, I'll ask you, would you like me to wear a mask? And 90% of you who are wearing a mask when you come in, when I ask you that, say, no, you don't need to do that. You've been very emphatic about that. About 10% have requested, yes, I'd like that. And we quickly and cheerfully put it on. That is what we do. We are here to try and work with you, not force you into doing one thing or another. And yet, 3 of our city council members decided that they needed to make that decision for us, that they're going to mandate masks for our entire city and in our store. So where do we go from here? This is where I have struggled. I was up late last night trying to think, how do we handle these things? And these verses from 1 Peter chapter 2 come to mind. And this is where Peter says, therefore, submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether to the king as supreme, or to governors, or to those who are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers, and for the praise of those who do good. For this is the will of God, that by doing good you may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men, as free, yet not using liberty as a cloak for vice, but as bondservants of God. Honor all people, love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the king. We are called to obey these things, and we're called to do it in a good spirit. We might disagree with them, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that we have to immediately adopt their ideas as truth, but they are the ones in authority, and we are called to follow them. And God allowed them to make that rule, and he's asking us to follow graciously. And this brings me to my greatest concern. Greater than wearing a face mask, as much as that is an irritant to me, is there are strong feelings on both sides of this. I've had conversations with some of you in my store, on the phone, and I get the feeling very quickly that both sides are very antagonistic towards the other and really making some moral judgments about the other that are not necessarily true. Someday we will get past this virus. But the way we relate to those we disagree with during this virus can have a lasting damage that'll go far beyond the length of this pandemic. Are we willing to do that? Are we going to be willing to extend grace and try to make it through here with as much intact in our communities as possible? My request to each of you, twofold, is this. To those who are really enthusiastic and have pushed for the mask mandate, I would ask for you to please understand that those who don't believe in the masks are not trying to kill people. We're not callous towards the pain of what this disease has caused. They just haven't been convinced that these masks are an effective way of stopping it. And they have a brain, and they're using it to the best they can. And I also like to say that many of those people are very active and actively involved in supporting those who are vulnerable to try and make it so they can stay safer and stay at home and not have to be out in the public, and which is the best thing for them to do. So just please be gracious and try to view them through that light, that they are trying to think and understand these things, but they're not there, and extend grace to them that they don't see it the same way you do. To those of you who are against the masks and feel that they should not be worn, I'd like to encourage you that please understand that most of those who are pushing for masks earnestly believe that they will work. That is what they believe. And for you to push against them and call them names does make you appear that you don't care about people. They believe that is the right thing to do, and we need to be understanding of that. And while there is certainly a political side to this, please understand that not everyone who's asking to make masks mandatory is deliberately trying to take away your freedoms. They see things differently. It may feel like that but inside, they're trying to do what they believe is best for everyone, because they earnestly believe that. And we need to understand that. Maybe if we, on both sides, try to see the best in each other rather than painting it in the darkest light possible, we'll be able to much more graciously respond to each other and allow our differences to heal as we get through this. I like to close with the words that Peter said in the passages read. Honor all people, even those you disagree with. Love the brotherhood, love our communities, do what we can to maintain the fabric of how we fit together. Fear God and honor the King. It is only through his grace and love that we can get through this together. Take care, God bless, and hope to see you soon and well.